screen, and it has security for your users, and you'll have access levels and so forth for each of the users. What we have at first is just what we call a dash panel. So when you come in here, you'll be able to see, as things go through what we call the pipeline, you'll be able to see all of your clients, in real time as they kind of come in through the cycle of I'm not sure which phase of foreclosure prevention you guys are in. I believe you guys are going to be covering somewhat of the full gamut, always up to as much as securitization. But this will kind of monitor your pipeline. Okay. From there, we have several items you'll be going into. You can either go show clients and see all your clients in one fashion. This dashboard here is also configurable. Now, it's also done by user. So, for example, I'm logged in now as administrator, so I can see all of the workers and all of their case files. Now, I can filter that down to just, let me just see JD's files, or let me just see test files, or whoever you want to. So if you set them at user level, that user will only see just their file. If you set it for a team or region levels, we have several stages that you can kind of see, and you'll be able to see whatever level you're at. So at user level, you're at the least value. You only see just your file. Your team, you'll see just your teams. Region, just your region, and then corporate is everybody. So we kind of keep that pipeline. Some of the key things we throw up front is and these are the things that, kind of industry-wise we found are most important, and that is the last activity on the file. That's when we say the last note. You can actually sort this and see, okay, here was 5 days ago, it was, some activity on John Doe's file test, and this is just a sample database, all the way up to the latest. So this is kind of an aging report for activity on the file. This is the stage that they're in. This was a file that's closed. Here's one in counseling, negotiation, and everything is also filterable, down to that particular area: forensics, negotiation, who's in underwriting, and so forth. So every grid in here is kind of configurable, statuses, and you can go as far also as looking at things like, in this case, I want to see. Let's say I want to see things like I want to see what we call the loan mod status or the region or team. This is fully configurable. So everything is configurable to what works in your model, like what you like to see on this dashboard when you kind of log in. I want to see what's their loan mod status or modification status, or some aging, or you can take on and off these columns. So that's just kind of a quick tour before we even got into the meat and potatoes of the software. Okay. Now let's go ahead and go into software. There's some quick ways to pull up. You can either double-click on the file right from here. We have some quick search keys in here that you can use. Press F6 and do it, like a universal search, and you can type in a loan number or a name. You don't have to go flipping through everything. You can just kind of say, I just know I don't know. I'm gonna take a guess. I might have a 9. I didn't look and see what loan numbers I might have, but if there was a 999 loan number, it would have popped up. But you can do loan number, name searches. Okay, there's some John Doe. There's a loan number. So the loan number would have been 232323. I could either click on this now and pick John Doe, or I could just search by loan number or something. You don't have to just pick either one. Just type whatever you want, and you go straight to that file. All right, so now we're inside of the 850 system, okay? So this is the intake system where you start, if the client could have been a lead, and we do have a lead section and a prospect section also, but let's assume we're now at this point and we've kind of engaged the client and we're ready to catch the initial intake or screening portion of the system. We've actually flow charted the system based on the business model of businesses out there, and we've been doing this for a long time, of the industries and the best practices and the way they actually work their models to the industry. Either whether you're doing just general consultation, whether you're going as far as the next stage of doing some forensic research in order to gain your leverage that you want to actually prepare to actually perform a strategy. Okay, so if you notice, we have client information, we have mortgage and financial information. So these are the first initial phases where you come in and put in the address, home address, mailing address. You might assign the file to a particular person. So these are all the types of file assignments that may be going on with this particular file itself. From, if you have a credit counselor that they've worked with, and all the various stages. To make a long story short, the lender can be recorded initially right at the front. We kind of have it pre-populated with lenders, and you can even update this with if you have another hot number that you guys are using. This is our note area. In other words, it's a call Bank of America, call for confirmation. Oops. LOA. Make sure you got it. And this was concerning the first mortgage or second mortgage, and we're working in the area of, let's say, miscellaneous right now. Okay. These case notes are also read-only. Once they're in, they're actually locked in, so it keeps the integrity of these case notes. So there's no loss of integrity. So the only person that could come in here is an administrator. You can go in and remove any bogus notes or anything like that. You could remove them. If this note is a note that you'd want to be viewable by the client, because you can print what they call an updated list and email out to the client all the case note activity, you can just say yes. So that allows, when you go to print out a list, it'll print out the one for the client notification. It'll just show all of the client-specific. Oh, that's going to jump up real big here. Let me scoop that screen out. That won't blow up all over the place. But these will be the ones, that the notes and the activity that the client is able to see. Okay, some of the notes that you may want to might be internal, so you'll leave those as notes. Okay, you see that? If you need the email or make that into a PDF and go through it, you can do it right from there. All reports can be emailed or converted to PDF right from any previous screen. So any report that you do can always be converted to PDF, as an email attachment and so forth. We run another model what we call actions and responses. The industry is kind of showed in this model. You're either waiting on something from somebody. Okay, Bank of America said they're going to call me back on Thursday at 1. Or I need to call the client on Friday and let them know that the results of the Bank of America call. Everything is something you need to do. Everything is something you're waiting on. So it's a constant back and forth that's when you're dealing with these files. And as you magnify your caseload, as you guys are pretty aware, it starts getting pretty busy. And you don't want to miss things, especially when we're dealing with loss, we're dealing with foreclosure situations. And what this does, it keeps this task list active. That active list is always accessible from this out dashboard. Now I'm logged in as an administrator, so I can see everybody's due this. Everybody's due to-do task list. So I can see, hey, this is doing this kind of stuff. This is, it's outdated, of course, but we would want to have, hey, you still got a to-do in the 6/11. They're supposed to call, blah, blah, blah. So all these activities on the to-do list are available from the screen set up here. Okay, and they're quickly accessible. Okay. Now, so that's what we call our to-do actions and responses. And then if you finish one, if you double click and you say, okay, it was completed, and then that goes off the list, and that's over on our finish side. Okay, that kind of keeps everything organized as you kind of flow through this whole process. After they start the intake, let's get to where we're actually grabbing the information. This will be the borrower information, property address, and so forth. You can click on that and watch. If you don't have your firewall set up, that is, you can pull up the mapping of the software too. Purchase price, market values, any comparables that you may have in here. You can list those comparables for that property. Property use, second home, occupancy. These are the same information that you see on the RMA forms that are normally printed out. If you're doing a proposal real quickly, you kind of fill these information out. You fill out the mortgage information first, or if there's a second and a third mortgage, you fill out that information, loan, the terms, the payment details for that actual mortgage, principal, interest, so forth. Now it'll grab all that information, because as it's grabbing this information, it's working up proposal information. You're going to put in your income for borrower, co-borrower. It's going to be figuring out the DTIs for you and doing some compilations, and you can see your debt to income, and all this is happening at the same time. If there's any alternate real estate, you'll list that back here. Any assets, you'll list straight down this list right here. Any hardships, you just check off your hardships. If there's a bankruptcy active, you list what type of bankruptcy it is, and then, date, any attorneys that are involved in that information, how was it, any documents that, confirm that attorney. And those can be listed in all back in the file. So at this point in time, what you would normally do is just go ahead and print out the proposal. So we have several proposals in there, client proposals, and we have the actual bank RMA forms. Some bank, the major bank forms in here. So let's go ahead and print a client proposal first. And I'm going to shrink the screen back down after it pops open. So I don't know how big your guys' screen are that you're looking on. Let me kind of squeeze it down first so you guys can see. And let me know how the size is okay on you. Can you guys see that? You guys see that? Okay. So this is a client proposal, and which is all, by the way, all customizable. It comes out with a standard logo, John Doe, client objective, gives them a current analysis, say your property is at $300,000, here's your mortgage, blah, blah, original amount, here's some possible side effects, blah, 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 blah. Here's your property, your proposals. We kind of show the first and second mortgage, or third if there's one. We give them an expense, worksheet that's broken out. It comes with an income worksheet, and that kind of lists all their proposed pre and post modification based on the proposal that it's going to work out for you. And it shows the front end that's current, this current state. Just out a little bit so you guys can see it.
Yeah, linked it.
Can you see it now?
That's good.
Okay, good. And this is the RMA form, that prints out, standard make home affordable. Now the customized version, which is the one by a particular bank, for example, if it was the DOA, let's go ahead and print out one of these for the Bank of America or Chase. Let's do the Bank of America. And like I said, all these forms are customizable too. Can you guys see that if I leave it maximized, or is it too big?
Yeah.
Oh, you can't see it?
Yeah.
Okay, great. I don't have to minimize it each time. Okay, so that would be the Bank of America one. That form is in there. You can. This form actually is actually 8.5 by 14 length form. So some of the banks have their own little customizable form, and the same for Chase and so forth. But we have all those, some of those forms. And if you want to load your own forms, you're welcome to do that too. We have a custom report area, and you can actually load your agency forms and then your company forms. You might have some special letters and so forth that you use internally. You can load those in the area that we have for custom reports. And you can put pretty much any kind of form in there that you want. Even forms that are converted to PDF, if you just do the export, say if you're in Adobe and you say export image, you can just load the whole background image in there, and then you just place the fields right over the PDF, and you basically have a fillable PDF that comes from data right out of the system. So these are a bunch of this, customer forms. Let's look at this. Here's an Aurora. Let's kind of open this to let you kind of see. And I just want to show you guys how quickly it is to actually load these actual forms. And that's to go ahead and load up the, pull up the.
I'm sorry, Walter. Scott, John, if you guys have your own disclosures and so forth that you want your clients to sign off on, this is where you will load those disclosures. How we're we're going to be representing you through negotiations, through loan modification or securitization to litigation, And so you can load your own forms in here based on the data that's collected through the software.
Okay, got it.
Okay, so you just Joe just showing you that these are all fully customized, and that previews and prints, and this is a full designer. And if you look at this is actually background image. You see that? So we're just taking the background image and we just drop the fields right on top of it, and you just have a customizable form. So you can take any form and make it rendered out of the software.
Okay.
Okay. Let me go a little bit out here. Too far. Okay. So after you go on that, you grab this information here, we move into several phases. Depending on if you're doing some forensics, you could be doing checking, doing some information, recording that information for securitization. You might be able to grab that information that you'll need. If you're doing it even has the templates. If you load your information, you're doing your forensic research, which we do also these checks internally. And if you guys get the enterprise, you'll be able to get. I think they're giving the enterprise. I think they're giving 100 checks free this month or something like that. I'm not sure what that is, but I guess Lamont could tell you a little more. I know they're doing a special here this month. But this is one of the reports. This is just a public record search report that kind of just, if you just want to do the client, say, hey, client, we just want to check to see if your files, it's kind of like a mortgage credit check, So you can, we do those checks at like $24. A lot of the clients are using it, like $49 check to see if your house is securitized, because you got these big claims that are out there now. You get the $29 billion, $26 billion settlement. Well, most of those properties are going to be properties that were involved in securitization, and which would be the same ones that they were doing a lot of robo-signing and so forth. So a lot of people just being able to provide that check initially before you've even done the full securitization report, which would include some other items on that report, and we do the full reports. If you're not doing them internally yourself, I don't know if you guys are doing them internally yourself, but this is the information that's included on the securitization, which is your land title, your different documents that are found in the SEC for a securitization check, and so forth. Okay, so that can all be generated from just fields that are filled in from here. That covers the land title investigation that you're doing if you're doing it robo-signing. It's got a till calculator. It's basically took all that loan information that we did 1 through 7. It kind of pre-calculated the truth in lending set up to see if there's any violations and so forth in that loan on the till. Now this is kind of after 3 years. 3 years has kind of passed, so the tills, a lot of those till violations have pretty much expired. But if you're trying to show that, hey, there's a pattern of predatory lending here with this lender already, you can kind of you could bring that kind of information into the into your case. Are you guys attorneys?
We have an attorney. We have a couple.
Okay.
Of them.
Right, or if they were going, so it depends on how far you would be going. We have a violation screening section where you could go through and screen, documents for various violations. That would actually print you out you can print out what we call a forensic screening report. So if I kind of went through here and let me look at the appraisal. Was it a poor rating? Was it, were there any decline? You can kind of click through your documents, check for certain things. If you print your forensic screening report, what it'll do is it'll print your forensic report, and I'm going to go ahead and make sure I know that sometimes there's a lag, so I want to make sure you guys see it on your screen. And this will actually start a full forensic report that'll come out with, listed violations based on those screenings. So this could, depends on if, as much screening as you do, it'll start pulling out more and more and more, documents and violations as you screen for them. So this kind of helps you with your initial discovery, okay? And you can do notes, and it'll tell you how many violations were, and so forth. Now, a lot of times you're going to see on the industry and this is one thing you may want to measure when you're looking at systems. You're not going to find too many people in this world, okay? Securitization, land title, when you're looking at other systems, because you really need, this requires another expertise besides just writing software to know what you're doing in the areas of securitization and so forth. So we're able to provide that kind of service too, also to our clients. What is securitization? How can you use it and so forth, the technology, and you're going to need that sometimes when you get in those areas to be able to conversate with somebody that understands what you're talking about. Okay. After you've done your investigation stuff, then you kind of move into what strategy you're going to do. Oh, just doing a loan modification, or are we going to work on some, even if you're doing loan modification, it's already worked out the whole proposal for you. You just kind of come here. As long as you fill out the 1 through 7, everything's here. It's already calculated the deal for you. You can just kind of press that, and that'll refresh it based on the terms that you have, and it'll, fill in this to the appropriate, factors. If you were going to actually say, oh, work out an alternate deal here, let's say we were trying to do something at 400, let's say 350. We want a better deal here, maybe like $350,000. There we go. And you'll see the chart kind of moving on the side. Oh, we're trying to work out something like, we want to be still about 31%. So now that would be a little too low, so that deal wouldn't work. So we'd have to actually, fill terms. So 360, and we wouldn't want to go that low. But that deal, we'd have to have terms at around 372 months to get a deal like that work. And it's actually keeping you in line, and that would create a new payment of this. And now this is the one that was computed by the system. It's going to say, hey, you need to forbear this amount of money. Here's a new loan amount. You're going to drop 2%, and this is the new term you're proposing. So it'll kind of work it out for you, but if you want to do a custom deal, you can work out those and provide to the client. It's going to show you the lender profit, which is what you're going to be selling, especially when you're doing principal reduction clients. I don't know if you guys are working with any clients, but that's a big business when you're working with doctors and attorneys with other properties, principal reduction. But this is going to show you new lender profit. If they go to foreclosure, does that work out for you? Yes, we do have the NPV analysis. The NPV analysis will show up there for you. So this is and this is just all done. You're not typing anything in here. Remember, at the very beginning, you do those 1 through 7. All of this is already here. This is just showing you, yes, they do pass the NPV test and so forth. Okay, so you already know the calculators that the bank are going to be using to determine whether it's a good mod or not. So you know on the front end what's the deal. Okay, principal reduction. If and as you get into that, it'll set your guidelines for what proposal you should be looking at, whether you're trying to short sell it or not. It'll kind of, if you have more than one mortgage, it'll kind of tell you what your targets should be at. You don't have to pretty much guess. It'll kind of tell you. Your target should have been about $85,000 in this case with this property, but maybe you negotiated, $25,000, and it shows you your total savings, what you've actually done in this negotiation, what's the loss if they were to turn this deal down for the lender, and that's kind of how you would do your principal reduction. If you guys are doing short sale, I'm not sure if you are. It has your sections for doing your short sales and also, printing out your, naturally have that analysis, but you can print an offer, short sale proposal. And this is the black and white offer that you're going to be offering in short sale. That's the single offer, not the analysis. Just what are you offering? $285,000. We're offering this. And, that's what they want to know. They want to know the net to them. What's the offer? And that's going to exclude repairs and so forth based on this offer. If you're going to do the analysis, that would be the short sale analysis report, which gives the overall analysis of that short sale offer. Here's what happens if they go to auction. Here's the REO sale scenario, and here's our short sale offer. Okay, clean to the point. Naturally you don't want to send a bunch of fluff over. They just want to know the numbers. And that's pretty much it. And also on the other side, we always have the days of sale, keeping the negotiations. Any balances due on this client's file is there. The discovery, in fact, more if you're an attorney and you're trying to get ready to build your kind of case together, this kind of allows you to, set up basically a case law dictionary. And I don't want to get too much into this, but you're able to kind of pre-set up through a legal dictionary in here, and you can kind of link it to case law that you're familiar with defending, and you can kind of link the case law to the different things that you like to defend, and then when you're on a client file, you can say, oh, yeah, was this robo-sign and was this kind of thing, and that's all linked to specific case law. So when you're actually working with it, you'll have a generated, when you're working on a particular case you're going to take to court, you'd actually have that case law dictionary all together for each of those various violations that you found. All right, so I'm going to kind of give you guys open it up a little bit. There's a digital doc. I'm going to leave that out. You can attach any kind of document to the client file. If I double click on this PDF, it'll open up the PDF that was can you guys see that? Or did it switch to my Adobe? Oh, I think it switched over to my Adobe. Open my Adobe up. Well, it opens up a PDF, so I got it shared as an application, so it opened up. Where is it? Adobe PDF. Anyway, I don't want to get too far in it. That just opens up the PDF that you double click on. We have invoicing too also. This is where you put in your invoices and line items and estimates and so forth. If you guys choose to use this and that, if you don't have an internal system. And other than that, you manage your workflows from here, and that's pretty much it, guys, in a quick nutshell, just a quick short area. I didn't go into the leads, but I'll just kind of quickly preview it because I don't want to, I know it's 2 o'clock. I was trying to keep you guys at 30 minutes. There's a little lead section. If you want to start a calling session, it's there. It has a call script. Hello, my name is da-da-da-da. They say yes. It'll tell them what the next question is, and you kind of, would you like free, offer you the free consultation. You kind of preload this with all kind of scripts. If you're talking about securitization, short sales, whatever you want to talk, it'll actually give you these quick call scripts that you can go through. And in any response from the caller, they can double click and you kind of tell whoever the operator is what's the next question to ask or the next statement to say. All right, any questions?
I'm assuming that this software, we host it, or is it a hosted solution?
You guys host your own.
Okay.
It resides on your software on your server, or you can, if you don't want to have a server, we recommend one of the VM virtual servers. They're usually like $30 a month, and no charge. We'll do the installation for you guys on there if you want to. Installation is pretty simple. It's kind of a next finish installation. You put in the IP address on the workstations inside the building, and that's it. If you install it in the building, it's the same thing. You install we have an application server piece that loads onto your server. If you had somebody outside of the building, they would just put in your building or router IP address, and it would basically go there, and they could connect from outside of the building or inside of the building. It's pretty point and click. Other than if you're on from a technical standpoint, you guys got your IT person there?
That'd be me.
Okay, all you would need to do is just port forward your router. Like this, as default, it listens on port 3001. So if you just port forward 3001 to whatever machine is running the application, that's pretty much all you would need. And it works across the internet or in the building or however you decide.
Okay.
Hey, Walter, could you show them that on the client side?
What on the client side?
Show them where they put in the IP address.
Okay, it's going to disconnect me on there, but right here under set connection, you click on set connection. Now it's going to click me off the server after I do, but you put in whatever your IP address would be over here. 72 dot whatever it might be.
Okay.
Okay.
I've done quite a bit of it, so that wouldn't be a problem. I don't think I have any more questions. I liked it. I mean, are you guys available again if I want to dive into it a little bit more?
Absolutely.
Okay. So what I need to do now is I need to talk to Tracy and I need to talk to Scott, and we'll talk it over about what we've seen. I like it so far. I'm probably going to want to look at it a little bit more. So,
Okay.
Thanks for the demo.
Okay.
Let me get with them, and I'll give you a call back probably tomorrow.
Okay, that sounds great.
Okay?
Okay.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Walter.